The first words I heard when I opened the door to my own mountain house were, "This is HOA property now." Not a greeting, not a mistake, but a shout like I was the intruder. And the crazy part. She was standing in my kitchen, ironing shirts with her family photos on my mantle and groceries in my fridge as if she had always lived there. I froze. For a second, I wondered if I had the wrong address, even though I'd driven 2 extra hours up a winding mountain road to reach the exact cabin I'd poured every cent into. Same weathered deck, same sweeping view, everything matched the photos I bought it from. Except the car in the driveway wasn't mine, and the curtains that had been bare 6 months ago were now neatly hung. The woman, Malene Pierce, looked mid-50s apron over jeans, casual as if she belonged there. Before I could speak, she whipped out her phone, said into it, loud and clear, "Yes, this is HOA security. I have a trespasser inside the dwelling." I almost laughed at the audacity until I noticed the badge in her hand and the pile of stamped documents on the counter. She spoke with such authority it almost felt like I was the criminal. I held up my title deed, the closing paperwork, my proof of ownership. She barely glanced at it. "That's wonderful you think you own this, but the property was already under HOA interim control when you purchased. Emergency authority during fire season supersedes individual ownership." She said it like a judge delivering a sentence. Then the sheriff's deputy arrived. Someone had called about suspicious activity. Deputy Santos reviewed both our papers, listened to both stories, and said the words that nearly gutted me. "This looks like a civil dispute, not trespass. You'll have to resolve it legally." Translation: she wasn't leaving, and I couldn't move forward. As if to prove the point, my phone buzzed with an alert from the county my building permit was frozen pending HOA oversight review. 15 grand in contractor deposits gone just like that. Every step I'd taken to secure my dream retreat crumbled in that moment. I was the legal owner paying mortgage and taxes, yet barred from even replacing a single board. She, meanwhile, was sipping coffee in my kitchen like she was queen of the mountain. I tried to keep my cool, but inside I was screaming. I started documenting her clothes in the closet, her mail on the counter addressed to M. Pierce Fire Safety Liaison, her food filling my fridge. She wasn't just squatting. She was living here under the HOA's blessing, and somehow that made me the outsider. That night, desperate, I went to see my neighbor Harold. Retired accountant, sharp as ever, the kind of man who still kept every HOA binder stacked in his office. I spread my documents on his coffee table. He tapped the dates, frowning. "Your purchase is solid. Escrow closed March 15th. Title transferred same day. But here's the thing, I've never seen them move this fast on anything." He pulled out meeting minutes dated 1 day after my closing. The board had voted to approve caretaker subsidies for my property, declaring it abandoned even though I'd just bought it. Malene had secured an $800 monthly stipend to maintain my cabin. And she wasn't the only one. Harold pointed out another house nearby where the exact same scheme was in play. My stomach sank. It wasn't negligence, it was a system. That's when doubt hit me hard. Maybe I'd been stupid. Maybe buying sight unseen was reckless. The bank loan payments were starting. My permits were blocked, contractors pulling out. I actually thought about walking away, eating the loss, convincing myself I'd made a fatal mistake. But then Harold leaned back and said something that lit a fire under me. "She's been living rent-free off HOA funds for almost 2 years. Over $19,000. And she's still getting paid even after you bought the place." Hearing the number the theft spelled out snapped me awake. I wasn't just a naive buyer. I was being conned. And if I quit, she'd win. So I pushed forward. The next day, I faced her at the county office. She showed up in a blazer, armed with a sleek tablet full of photos, loose deck rails, scorched outlets brush-piled against the cabin walls. She looked polished, confident, practiced. I slapped my closing documents on the inspector's desk, my tax receipts, my insurance policies. Inspector Williams looked between us, then sighed. "This is more complex than a simple permit issue. We'll schedule a site inspection tomorrow. Both parties present. My decision will be final." Outside the office, Malene smiled like she'd already won. She even leaned in close, whispering, "When the inspector sees, you'll look reckless compared to me." That night, I tried to reason with her one last time. She was in my kitchen again, chopping vegetables like it was her home. When I pressed about the stipend, she smirked. Maintaining a vacant mountain property is full-time. The HOA compensates me for my oversight. Maybe you should thank me for protecting your investment. What she didn't know was my phone was live streaming every word to Harold and half the neighborhood group chat. Morning came inspection day. Malene marched the inspector around, pointing dramatically. See how this railing wobbles? Sure enough, it shook. But when I crouched down, I saw why the bolts were loosened by hand. The inspector noted it. Strike one. She showed photos of blackened outlets, except in person they were pristine. Her timestamps were just days old, staged for the inspection. Strike two. Then came the smoking gun. Behind cleaning supplies, the inspector found a small notebook, handwritten entries, loosen bolts, remove outlet covers, pile brush near foundation. It was a how-to guide for manufacturing hazards. Her face drained of color when he flipped through the pages. Williams's verdict was swift. All HOA interim authority is terminated. Owner has full rights. Evidence suggests deliberate fabrication of hazards. I thought it was over. I thought I'd won. But that night I couldn't sleep. Something about her confidence lingered. People who fake documents that carefully don't just quit after one loss. At 11 p.m., I drove up to check. Harold joined me with a flashlight. We circled the house and froze. In the dark, Malene crouched with a cordless drill sawing into my deck supports. Not staging photos this time, sabotaging for real. If anyone stepped there, the platform would have collapsed. I started recording, called 911. She heard me, tried to slip into the trees, but Harold blocked the path. When Deputy Santos arrived, she examined the cuts, the fresh wood shavings. This is deliberate structural damage. Reckless endangerment. Body cam rolling. Harold's live stream still going, the truth was undeniable. Malene was arrested on the spot. 3 weeks later in court, she looked nothing like the HOA chair who once lorded over me. No badge, no blazer, just an orange jumpsuit and shackles. The prosecutor laid it all out: fraud, property damage, unauthorized occupancy, endangerment. The notebook, the staged hazards, the stipend theft. The judge didn't hesitate. 18 months in county jail, 2 years, probation, repayment of all funds and damages, permanent ban from HOA involvement. The gavel came down, and that was it. Months of fear, doubt, and sabotage ended in a single moment. And here's what I learned: ownership can be proven on paper, but you only truly own something when you're willing to fight for it.